In this video, I'm going to discuss about how to live an organized life from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep. Now, the insights I'm gonna share in this video are personally my insights after researching, trying different kinds of activities in my daily life. Now, coming to the main topic, let's start our discussion with a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Now, in this book, there is a chapter, the seventh chapter, which its title is Sharpening the Axe. Now, what does sharpening the axe means? It means, let's say, if a person is going towards forest to chop the tree. Now, to chop the tree, you need to have a sharp axe, and if you don't have a sharp axe, then chopping the tree takes a lot of time. In the similar way, to get things done in our daily life, we need to sharpen the axe of our individual priorities or activities. Like, let's say from this book, the activities are divided into 4 types: physical, mental, social, and spiritual. Let's say if you spend your daily 1 hour of your time on those habits every day, then you will create a kind of a momentum and foundation for your rest of the day. Let's consider 3 of those activities: physical, mental, and spiritual. Let's say you meditated for 20 minutes or read any kind of spiritual book, or meditated, or let's say prayed about this God. And coming to the physical activities, you exercised for 20 minutes or went to a run or done any kind of cycling activities or played any kind of sports. And coming to the mental, you have read book for 20 minutes or you have written down your thoughts in a piece of paper. And by adding these activities, physical, mental, and spiritual, you will cover 3 areas of life within 1 hour every day. Now, coming to the emotional part, or let's say social part, the fourth part, it is about our interactions with other people in our rest of the day. And by doing this kind of activities regularly, we will create a kind of a momentum, and it creates a kind of organized life and a kind of a pattern. And if you want to build habits that stick for a long enough time, then you can read, or let's say start from this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, what is the speciality of this book is, it's kind of simple to understand, and the points mentioned in this book are practical and easy to apply, and there are a lot of examples. Now let me pick a topic. Now let's say 2 minutes rule. If you want to do some kind of activities, let's say reading a book, shooting a video, or doing any kind of activities, spending time with your close ones, getting on a call, and if you want to do it, but your motivation levels are so low and you have no will to do it, then you can just simply take 2 minutes of your time, and you can say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do this activity only for 2 minutes, and after 2 minutes have been completed, then I will stop doing this activity. Now, what happens for you personally is that if you do those 2 minute activity every day of your life, like exercising for 2 minutes every day, sleeping 2 minutes early each day, now this creates a kind of a routine, and after a few days, your body and your thoughts will align with the routine. Like, it is kind of a predictable routine, and you know that you are going to do this activity for 2 minutes every day. Now, what your brain thinks is that it is kind of a predictable routine and you have stick to it, and after some time you can also do, let's say 5 minutes, let's say do for another 10 minutes, and by sticking to those any kind of activities for a short amount of time and doing it consistently every day, you will create routine, and you can improve upon that routine, like from 2 minutes to 5 minutes, from 5 minutes to 10 minutes every day doing that activity. Now let's consider any kind of activity in your day-to-day life, like if you want to play sports, or let's say if you want to improve your emotional skills, or if you want to read a book, or if you want to journal, write down your thoughts, or meet new people, working on your business, or any kind of activity. If you want to create a predictable organized life, then there are a lot of activities you can do in your life. And now coming to not to do part, there are a lot of ways you can analyze your day-to-day life, such as, let's say you have a journal, and in this journal you can fill the days with any kind of activity in your life. Let's say from the moment you wake up, what have you done and what are the activities that move you forward in your life, and what are the activities that drains your energy, and which kind of activities improve or do not drain your energy. And by asking yourself these simple questions and journaling regularly, you can know that what you need to do and what you shouldn't do, and it kinds of a and it builds a kind of predictable routine. Let's analyze what I have told until now. The 7 habits, like each and every it divides our life into 4 parts: physical, social or emotional, in mental, and spiritual. Now if we cover those 4 areas of our life in those 1.5 hour time, then it will be a stable and predictable routine. And additionally, if you want to dive deep into any kind of activities, such as doing those deep work sessions for 3 hours, 5 hours every day, or just reading those books for 1 hour every day, or 5 pages every day, and any kind of activity if you want to do, then you want to have some basic idea on how to build and stick to those habits. And this is the book you can read, and there are a lot of books on habits and other stuff. And personally, I have read these 2 books and I have applied some of the concepts in my life, so I'm sharing with you what work for me. And it may or may not work for you, but those 2 books are bestsellers, and sticking to those things that work may work in most of the cases. And now coming to disruptions in our daily life, let's say you are doing any kind of deep work, or if you are in a activity and it needs to be done, but suddenly you got a thought, and the thought is very important and interesting. So what you will do, if there is a certain kind of activity that you are doing right now, and you shouldn't take, or let's say in most of the cases, to be disciplined you need to stick to some routine and to complete those specific tasks, unless it is very important and the present activity is left for later time. Now if it is not important but you want to do the task after some time, then you can try to notepad. Now it's kind of a small notes, and in these notes you can write today's date, and you can list down the activities 1 2 3, and you can write down your thoughts on, let's say, after this time I'm gonna google something, or I'm going to order this equipment or this stuff, or I'm going to call this person, and I'm going to meet this person, I'm going to learn how to cook this dish, or any kind of activity you can just note down. And what happens for you personally, if you note down those thoughts, means it clears your mind, and you know that if you write down in this small note, in this notepad, that then you will complete the activity after your work is done. And what if you get those thoughts, and if it is outside, or if you are in a kind of outside of your city, or you came out, then what? Then you can use your smartphone and note down the activities in your notes, and you can come to house and check them. Or if you don't have smartphone, you can write down in a piece of paper, or let's say this small notes type of book you can also use, and you can write down this pen and book. And after coming to home, or let's say after finishing your specific activity, you can accomplish the work. Now let's say, until now what we have learned, let's say if you want to have an organized life, first things first, you need to write down in a piece of paper or a book about your specific goals, specific plans, specific priorities, and what is important for you personally in your life, what is your mission. And as I mentioned before, in the seven habits, in the seventh chapter, there are four kinds of activities like physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Those are basic. You can accomplish them in within 1 hour, 1.5, or maybe 2 hours of your daily life. And for the rest of the day, you can focus on other things or other priorities. And let's say if you want to have a specific or detailed step by step plan, you can write down one of my habits. Let's say there is a kind of a routine I'm following, or let's say I want or I wish to follow, and I'm going to share them with you. And coming to the first part, sleep. Now, what does sleep means? Sleep means to regenerate our body, or give it some kind of rest, or any kind of rest. Let's say you are going in a sauna, or if you are getting a massage, then it is a kind of sleep or rest. And if you are not reading any kind of books, or if you are not thinking critically and just using your physical body for any kind of activities, then it is a kind of rest for your brain, because you are not using your brain at that specific amount of time. Let's say if you are reading any kind of book, and you are just sitting in a chair and you are doing it, then it is rest for your body. And if you want to rest, have a rest in any all areas of your life, then you can have rest at the end of the day. Let's say 9 p.m. From 9 p.m. to, let's say, 4 or 5 a.m. Now what does this means is that our body, or let's say our body has a kind of routine circadian rhythm. And what does circadian rhythm means? It's kind of a biological clock which helps us to live our life within alignment, in alignment with nature. Now what happens when we go to sleep during the end of the day? During the end of the day, during old times, when we don't have any kind of this technology such as smartphones, screens, or lights, now what happens after evening 5 or 6 p.m., the sun goes down and the moon comes up, And what happens there? The bright sun will go down and it will be dark, and by getting dark the temperature falls down gradually, and our body temperature will also fall down gradually, and there is no light, I mean natural light, and our eyes analyze, or let's say our eyes observe that there is no light, and our eyes create some kind of changes in our body and prepares our body for deep sleep. And after, let's say, 7, 8, 9 p.m, we will go to sleep during those early stages, and after getting those 6, 7 or 8 hours of sleep every day, we will wake up at 3, 4 or 5 a.m, and after waking up we will do our daily activities. Now this is the main essence, or let's say main concept of circadian rhythm, and our food intake and the quantity of the food we eat also affects our sleep, body, our energy levels. Let's say if a person is eating a lot of food, and to digest the food our body requires to use some kind of energy. And where does the energy come from our body? So to digest the food we are using the energy from our body, and it reduces the energy in our body. So in a way overeating also reduces our energy. And there is also a concept that if you are eating 3 meals every day, the first meal, or let's say the morning meal, should be eaten like a king, and the second meal, the afternoon meal, should be eaten like queen, and the third meal, evening or night meal, should be eaten like prince. Now what does this means is, during mornings the sun will rise, and by rising sun the temperatures will also rise, and it will affect our stomach. Means if the sun is very high in temperature, let's say mornings 10 to 3, or let's say when the sun is rising our body can also digest the food easily. So our first meal, king's meal, should be some heavy meals, like any kind of heavy foods that requires a lot of time and effort to digest. So that kind of food can be eaten in the mornings, and so that when the sun rises our body, or let's say our stomach, will also, it's a kind of an ideal place where we can digest our food fastly. And while coming to the evenings part, the sun is also falling down, and our body temperature is also going down. So to get the food digested fastly, you need to consume some kind of light food that will digest fastly. Means our evenings meals should be lightweight or not heavy. Means we need to avoid foods that takes a lot of time to digest. Now this is the main essence of the time we sleep, our food intake, and our circadian rhythms. And that's all I have learned until now about these sleeps. And now coming to our daily routine and organized life, coming to our education, even if you are a rich person, or let's say even if you are a big level CEO, or if you are a small tiny wage employee, you need to get educated, because education widens our horizon. Now let's imagine a torchlight. A torchlight is displaying light within a certain angle, let's say in this angle, and if the torchlight is going in this angle, then what does it means? Then we can see until the light goes. What happens in education is, if you educate regularly, then it will open up new point of views for you to consider. It will educate you on the topics that you didn't even know existed, so that the torchlight will improve, or let's say increase slowly, and you will see widely, and you will observe things, and that will mostly improve the way you see the world and take actions. And in this way you can make those gradual improvements towards a better life. Now, how to read? You can pick some time, any time of your day, like mornings, afternoons, or nights. You can, let's say, read 1 hour every day, 10 pages every day, 5 pages every day, or even 3 hours every day or more. Depends upon your requirements. But reading needs to be done every day. It doesn't matter what kind of readings you do. You can listen to podcasts in YouTube, you can listen to audiobooks, ebooks, or just take this in a kind of physical book, or just learn something new every day, so that you become educated on new things. And learning, what is the spelling of learning? Learning. Now remove the first word, or let's say first letter L. Now what are the rest of the letters? Earning. EARNING. Now first things we need to learn, and if we are learning, then it will create opportunities for each and every one of us to earn more. Let's say, let's consider two instances. In the first instance, a person is learning until the college is over, and after the college or graduation is completed, that person went to a job, and after going to a job, he is not educating himself in any kind of stuff, or let's say AI or some kind of stuff. And he, his job depends upon, or let's say his work will be only the work that he knows how to do. But now consider the second person. Even after graduation, even if that person didn't even go to school or earned a diploma, if that person is learning daily, every day, small tiny bits of information, and applying them in his or her daily life, then he will see those tiny changes in his or her life. And by learning new things, he can do new things in his or her life, and she can make herself independent. And by being independent, she can earn, and she can take care of her needs. And that's for this education. But now, until now, what we have discussed: habits, organized life, education, and sleep routine, and the type of foods we eat. And you can also journal at the end of each day, like writing down your insights, thoughts, and habits. Let's say there are three questions you can ask yourself: what happened today that I am grateful for? Which actions moved me towards my goals? And are there any changes I can make? And you can also plan tomorrow's events, or let's say top three to-do lists for tomorrow's activity. You can write them down today night. And even if you woke up early in the morning and you want to write things down, you can also take a piece of paper, or let's say any kind of book, and you can write down your thoughts in them. Any kind of thoughts, it's like a personal journal that is specifically for your inner thoughts and your emotions, a kind of a creative outlet. And by doing these activities, you can have a productive, or let's say better life. And in our, in, or let's say from where I came, in our religion, there is a concept known as three gunas: sattva, rajas, tamas. Sattva means focusing on the things we are doing every day, like doing those habits, and rajas means ambition, tamas means illusion. Now if a person is reading a fiction book or watching a movie or web series or anime, then he is focused on some kind of illusion, something that is not real, then this is tamas. And if another person, let's say a high level CEO, is focused on earning $1 billion, 100 billion, or let's say any kind of money in this annual year for his or her company, then it's kind of a ambitious activity. And this ambition is known as rajas, rajoganam. And in the similar way, the sattva guna means not being ambitious, not living in illusion, but focusing on the present moment and giving your 100% on the present activities. Like, let's say, if you are a any kind of person, let's pick, if you are a sports person, or let's say if you are playing any kind of games like chess, cricket, tennis, basketball, any kind of games, if you want to improve upon them, then you need to repeat certain actions like waking up early in the morning, exercising for a few hours every day, practicing your sports every day, and that kind of repeated activities are creating boredom in our life. And if we are bored, most of the people, including me and you, or let's say excluding, most of the people will be tired of that specific activity, and they will stop in the middle. And so to become better at anything, you need to overcome that boredom, and to overcome that boredom you need to enjoy the activity, and to enjoy the activity you need to have a kind of mindset that accepts boredom as reality and focuses on getting that daily tasks done. And what does it means is that, let's say if you want to make yourself physically fit, then you can, let's say, 100 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, 100 squats, or 10 kilometers run. Now it's a basic exercise routine, and if you can follow it, but let's say if a person had followed this exercise routine for 3 days, 5 days, or an entire week, and after that dipping point, most of us will feel bored, and most of us leave that activity and focus on something attractive. But the real progress comes when we stick to that activity and do it repeatedly throughout the days, and we become so good that it creates a kind of opportunities for us. Like, let's say you are in a group of people, let's say 100 people, and that 100 people are presented with an opportunity which is required to get done. And to do that activity we need to be in a certain kind of skills, or let's say our mental maturity or our inner thoughts should be good, or we need to have certain skills, or we need to become or be certain person with a high character. And to become that, to be the person for that job or the goal, we need to become that person. And how will we become that person? Through our daily activities, through our repeated actions. Even if you are doing those things in private, even if no one is seeing you, those small tiny small actions will count. From what I have read in Atomic Habits book, those small tiny actions, like, let's say, if you have done something positive, then it is a plus. And if you have done some things that are not moving you towards your goals, or distracting you towards your main, away from your main purpose, then it is a minus. At the end of the day, those plus and minus will create your life graph, and throughout the months, throughout the years, those tiny small actions you take will be counted, and that creates a kind of momentum. Even if you are not getting any kind of results in the present moment, you need to trust yourself and focus on delayed gratification. Means, let's say, if you want to eat any kind of chocolate or any ice cream, then if you have money, you can go to that store or go to that shop and you can give them money and you can eat it. Now what effort does it require? It came so simply. Those 5-10 minutes you have spent, and you just gave some money, and you have just gained some kind of pleasure. And these pleasurable activities are distracting us from achieving our main goals. Like, even if you watch the time you to spending TV, watching anime, or those, I mean, overindulging in that certain activities will lead us to spend less time on things that matter most. Now, how does delayed gratification work? Now let's imagine, as the previous example, ice cream. Now, that to get that ice cream, very little effort is required. But to run a 1 kilometer, 5 kilometers, or 5 miles marathon, you need to prepare yourself for months. You need to eat a certain kind of diet. You need to make your body flexible, or let's say strong, to get those runs every day, and you need to prepare yourself. You need to take those actions every day. And what does it mean? And after some time, you may or may not win the marathon, but if you won the marathon, what does it means? It means you have struggled, you have won, you put the effort, you have sweated, and you have done everything you can. And after winning the marathon, that's the real pleasure. That's the real pleasure. That's something you need to strive for. That's something every one of us needs to strive for. Not the pleasures kind of activities we receive, not the dopamines we receive after we open Instagram, after we ate that chocolate or ice cream, after we have done those small activities, or after we have watched that anime episode. No, this is not real pleasure. Real pleasure is something tangible, something that you can proudly say that I have done. And it takes time, it takes a lot of time, energy, focus, sacrifices. Now, what does it means is that, let's say, if you have a predictable routine in your life, and it creates a foundation for your life to improve. Let's say, if you are sleeping for 6 to 8 hours every day, that 8 hours gone, and you can, let's say, focusing on getting those daily activities like physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental, then you can spend there 2 hours of your daily time. And after that, you can spend reading, educating yourself, or any kind of activities. Like, let's say, you can say roughly 10 hours of your day, or any kind of activity. Now, this creates a kind of a building block of your life, let's say foundation. And these foundations will help you to make something tangible, like a building or a structure or a bridge, anything you want to do. Now, after the basics are taken care of, like your daily habits, and you can have the moments like daily, let's say, those 10, 12 hours, or let's say even 8 hours of your day. Even if you are doing a daytime job or working for 8-10 hours every day, after coming to home at 5 or 6 or 7, even 7, instead of watching that TV series or anime or anything, or watching sports for that 1 hour of your time. If you spend that 1 hour on something tangible like spending time with your family or closest ones, or spending time focusing on improving your skills, or spending time to move from here to there, like those are small tiny aspects of your life that will move you towards something tangible. Like you need to be disciplined enough, you need to have a strong why to create those winning moments. Like delayed gratification means the if the rewards are huge, then the time will also huge and the sacrifices will also be huge. Like let's consider, even if to achieve something we need to sacrifice some things. Like if you want to become like Elon Musk or any kind of businessman, then you need to be in a work centered relationship, or let's say spending that 80 100 hours every week. And by spending that much time you will create, or you will move so fastly, you will accelerate your momentum, and that momentum will take you to greater heights, and it will not be smooth. Like let's consider Elon Musk. During 2008, his two companies, SpaceX and Tesla, are almost bankrupt. SpaceX was launching its fourth rocket, and Tesla was almost a failed electric company. And during that time, you can also go search on YouTube about Elon Musk videos, and you will see that he is crying and he is having nightmares, or that's the struggle. And the universe will give your results, even if that results may not be visible in the present moment. If you strive for something, then you will get them. And you need to ask yourself, is this the price worth paying for? Like many kind of workaholics are spending less time with their families and with their kids, and spending more time during those work tasks, and they are gaining reputation, they are having success, but at what cost? And you need to ask yourself these questions. If gaining, if work is most important activity for you, then okay, all right, your priority is your life. And if you need, you want to have a balanced life, then you need to ask yourself, means you can't get everything at the same time in your life. Like the quote, if you are young, you have more time and energy, but you don't have money. If you are working or in the middle age, then you have more energy and money, but you don't have time. But and if you are old, if you, then you have more time and money, but you don't have energy. Means at this single point in any area of your life, you will not get everything at the same time. Means even if you get, those are rare cases. So use your time and resources wisely, and do things that you can do at that specific time with the things you have. Like let's say, if you have a piece of paper, then you can use this paper to plan your life, or have write down your goals. If you write down your goals in a piece of paper, then it will compound your goals. Like let's say somebody thought about having a goal, and his thought is just in his mind. But if you have written that thought in a piece of paper, and you have set a deadline, and you have a clear plan, then it will be realized, while comparing with the person who has just thought about goal and then write in a piece of paper. Now it creates a kind of a clear picture about what tasks that you need to accomplish right now. Now, what is the main essence of this video? Having an organized life, or creating an organized life. Now, to create an organized life, we need to have those certain habits like physical, mental, social, spiritual, or anything. And You can spend that time, and you can also have sleep routines and predictability. And to have an organized life, you can spend in any area of your life, but it will be it will but if you want to spend, you want to reach some specific goals in a limited amount of time, then it is very hard to be organized and consider or take care of everything in your life, like relationships or exercise routines or sleep routine. Let's say if you have you are a student and you have an exam in 1 month, so you can read and you can read until the midnight, and you can just sleep for 2 hours every day if you have a strong why, and you are just reading every day, and after completing your exams you will get the results. Now your priorities matters a lot. If you want to accomplish and have more marks in the exam, then you can leave those habits for some time, and you can focus all your efforts on this specific task. But it is very hard to accomplish this in this way in the long run. Means doing those activities will impact our health, wellness, and emotional bondings with other people. And if you are looking for a longer way, and means a long route, or a, let's say if you are in your early 20s or in your teens or any kind of work, then you can use these 7 habits, and you can build your daily habits on this stuff, and you can organize your daily life, and you can have those inputs, and you can make yourself better. Like if you have an organized life, then you can consider other things, and it kinds of a builds a predictable routine, and that routine will help you to move towards the activities that will help you. Now consider it from another perspective or another point of view. Now let's say if your main goal, or let's say the goal of this video is to have an organized life, or how to make your life organized. And by having an organized life means doing today's activities in an organized way. Now let's consider from another point of view our long-term goals and our vision board, and how our organization activities are helping us to move towards those specific goals and specific visions. And let's say, or let's consider this point of view. Now let's consider this journal. In this journal is from 2025, this year, and in this journal there is a calendar 2024, 2025, 2026, and you can also have like planners. Like in this planner is from for 2025. You can write down your plans and goals, like during this month, like 2025, at the end of June 1st or at the end of May 31st, I am going to save this much money, and after this time I am going to complete reading this many books. Or let's say with specific goals, like after accomplishing this 2025 year, I need to complete at least 53 books, and I need to apply concepts, those let's say 5-10 concepts every month in my life, so that I am going to improve upon those tiny aspects on those specific activities in my day-to-day life, so that my overall life picture will be so colorful and brighter. And let's say, let's consider a kind of a Japan. I think this is from Japan also, in a Japanese company. If I am wrong, or let's say just consider in a specific company, there are cars that needs to be made, and in that making process some bugs or some manufacturing defects or any kind of activities will come, and what the general staff are doing at the time is, instead of stopping, or let's say instead of postponing the activities, if they see a problem, then they will take measures to solve it within the spot. And what happens during this process is that manufacturing line will also regularly move and complete those cars, and those small bugs will not be ignored and fixed regularly, and it's like improving those tiny changes. In the similar way, if we just focused on improving our life and solving our life problems when the moment they appeared, and not letting them grow into some kind of big problems that we can't even manage ourselves, then we can have those tasks, or let's say talk on the things that will move us towards our goals. And in the similar way, if we do those tiny changes regularly, then our life will be a lot better. And in the similar manner, if we are not focused, and if we didn't consider, and if we just ignored those small tiny mistakes, those small tiny problems, then it will not take us more time to see that small problems become larger. And in the similar way, let's consider any kind of other example. Let's say if a person is just consuming stuff, reading books, reading podcasts, watching videos, and not doing any kind of tasks, or and not applying any kind of tasks stuff in his or her life, then it's kind of a mistake. And there is a specific concept that we can learn. Let's say, to consume information, there are two kinds: just in time information or just in case information. Now coming to the just in case information, is consuming information randomly, assuming that this information will be helpful in our future time. And just in time information means consuming information that we need right now. Now what's the difference between both of them? Just in case information is large information, means it is very infinite supply, because there are a lot of infinite YouTube videos, infinite Google articles, infinite books to read. And in the similar way, if we have a specific problem like procrastination, making ourselves healthy, improving our relationships, networking, earning money, or even organizing our life, we can pick those high quality videos, high quality books, and practical stuff or to-do list that will work. And it will also reduce the friction and information. And if we have a limited information, then we can just do it, and it will improve our progress when considered with just in case information. Means just in time information is like results are coming very fastly, because we are just focusing on what do we need right now. And that is the purpose of just in time information. And you can also just consider just in case information as kind of a fun activity that you do in your spare time. Like, let's say you can read biographies of famous people and learn from their mistakes, even if you haven't made them in until now in your life, then it's just kind of a fun activities. And the main activity is main activity, and it needs to be prioritized. And let's say if you want to accomplish any kind of work in your day-to-day life, let's say journaling, let's consider journaling. In this journaling, we can write down our day-to-day life, and we can have a organized list of what tasks have we completed and what tasks remain unfinished until now. let's say during that time we can, in this certain month I'm going to complete these activities, and you can have those goals at the start of the month, and at the end of the month you can analyze your progress and write down your journals on what have you completed, and why didn't you completed it, or if you completed it, how did you complete it, and how can you make them better and in a better position or situation. And there are also a few activities you can consider to have an organized life. Like, let's say, if you, until now, I have only discussed on the topics that are of, that depends upon yourself. Like, let's say your environment also plays a key role. Now, from the book Atomic Habits, if you have a environment, let's say, if your fridge is filled with a lot of junk food, then what you will eat when you get hungry in your home? Probably junk food. Why? Because you're in your home, there is junk food, and you are hungry. And when people are angry, they prefer sweet, salty, spicy, something that tastes good. And what tastes good? Junk food. In many cases, because those manufacturing companies also know our taste buds react to the sweet, and in the similar way we get those emotional heights, and that will go gradually fall down, and it will disturb our health. And in the similar way, if your fridge is filled with a lot of healthy foods, like, let's say, milk, or even if in your table you have like fruits, bananas, apples, dry fruits, or let's say you can, any kind of foods which is healthy and in front of you, then, and you don't have junk foods, then what you will eat? You will also probably eat healthy foods. In the similar way, if you have read the quote that you are the average of five people you spend most of your time with. In the similar way, if you just spend your time with the people you want to become, like, let's say, if a person in a group of people, each and everyone is earning 1 million each every year, let's consider, if you became the sixth person in the group, now by associating yourself with that group, you will also think like the person who is earning 1 million. You will also take actions like the person you are earning like 1 million. Like, you're in any kind of group, we need to have that feeling that we are in the group, and to have that feeling we need to associate ourselves with the group and do the activities that the group is doing naturally. So we will align our actions with the group actions, and it's like a ditto, and we are copy pasting that actions, and that will improve our daily life. In the similar way, if you want to become fit, you need to surround yourself with fit people. If you want to become fat, you need to surround yourself with fat people. If you want to have growth in your life, then surround yourself with growth mindset people. If you want improvement in your life, then consume stuff, consume information that helps you to become a better version of yourself, and spend less time on consuming that pleasurable activities, movies, animes, TV series, or just don't waste your time on that certain activity. And there are a lot of things you can do to organize your life, such as organizing your dresses. And now, coming to your dresses, like, let's consider a famous figure, Steve Jobs. Now, what is Steve Jobs' dress routine? He just wears a black t-shirt and a blue jean pant. That's all. And during these early years, he might have wore a suit or any kind of stuff. But in the later years, after he returned to Apple and introduced the iPhone, then most of his time, or from most of his videos, we can see that he just wore black t-shirt and blue pant. And even if Mark Zuckerberg have worn those shorts and those creatives set. And until now, and in the present moment is just changing and focusing on wearing those colorful dresses and goggles. But before that, to have an organized life, you can focus on a dress code, and you can have those 5 6 or let's say 10 dresses which are similar, and you have a organized closet, and you can wear them, because that will reduce your time and your decision making abilities. Like let's say, if you want to, if you have an unorganized closet, and if you wake up and if you have bathed, and after taking a bath you ask yourself what should I wear today, then your brain is consuming energy because it needs to think. But if you have a organized closet like some kind of Steve Jobs way, then you have a predictable routine, and your brain and mental energy will be saved, which can be used on important activities. In the similar way, you can also have some kind of similar dresses, like you don't have to wear that black dress blue jean pant. You can also wear some kind of I don't remember that what it is called, but it is kind of like you have a pair of dresses, and you have a specific pairs of dresses in a order that even if you wear a different pair of pant and a different pair of shirt, it will be matched, means it is matching. But it's like a, if you have five pants and if you have 5 or 10 shirts, and even if you wear any kind of pant, even if you wear any kind of shirts, means different model, different color, or anything, it will be matched. In the similar way, it's like it's reducing our friction of our thoughts and organizing our closets. And in the similar way, we can organize our legal files and documents on specific, like we can have a documents file, and we can keep them in a specific area. And in the similar way, we can clean our rooms, or clean up keep our rooms neat and tidy, and keep separate places for every kind of stuff we own and use every day. And until now, I've discussed about the dresses we wear, and now coming to our personal and professional lives, we can use those specific, like you can have 2 phones, and one phone will be personal use and the other phone will be for professional and work related activities. And you can also have a professional office, and can have a home. And if you work indoor, work from home, then you can have a specific room for your work activity. If you don't have a room, you can have a desk for that activity, and you can say to yourself, if I sit in this desk, then I will do this specific activity, and this desk is for that specific activity. Even if you don't have any kind of desk, then you can sit in a side of the room, and you can assign yourself that this part of the room is for this specific activity. And what does this means? Then it creates a habit loop in our brain, means we can prepare our minds and thoughts, like if I sat in this place, then it means I'm doing this specific activity. And it's also from what I've learned in this book, Atomic Habits, means our habits create a routine, and that routine will make us do stuff repeatedly, like an automatic mode. Like if you open a social media app, then you are scrolling, and after some minutes you see the time, and if it's like an hour passed, but you didn't see the time. But why? Because it is like it's stick to your brain that you scrolling the phone is like a predictable path. In the similar way, if you use a specific area of your specific place in your home, and you have just focused on one thing while you sat in that specific place, then it creates a fun kind of habits and predictable organized routine for you to accomplish the tasks. In the similar way, by being an adult, we need to have an organized life, and to have an organized life we need to be disciplined and plan our things, get things done. Means it doesn't have to be those big to-do lists or goals. It can be those small tiny actions we take every day, like brushing our teeth and doing dressing up, organizing our closet, and washing our clothes at certain times, and organizing our books. And these are just small tiny activities we can do every day, and by doing those tiny activities we can move towards something that is helpful for our long term future. And in the similar way, let's say, to have a progress and to have a momentum, as I mentioned before, three gunas: sattva, rajas, tamas. Tamas means illusion, sattva means, rajas means ambition, sattva means focusing on what needs to be done in the present moment. And if we focus and if we have an organized life, means we can also have a boring life, and doing those repeated activities day in and day out every day, it feels kind of a boring task. But to have a long term progress, we need to stick to that routine and to follow that routine. And in the similar way, we need to have a sattva guna kind of mindset. We need to go beyond ambition and stick to those habits. And to, if you want, if we stick to those habits, then we can accomplish them throughout the life, like you have understood until now. And if you have sticked until now, I am thanking you. Thank you. If you found any value for this video, you can write them down below. You can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more insights from me. And if you have any kind of suggestion, you can comment them down below. And that's all for this video, guys. Thank you.